Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise, and we're still joined with the director of the Art Center within the Alexandria Bibliotheca Alexandrina, and we were just discussing a little bit about the cultural exchange, the learnings that you have got from different conducts and different performances. I'd like to know from you a little bit about the background of Hisham Gabr. If you can tell us a little bit more.
Well, I'm a graduate of Cairo Conservatory. I have worked in many aspects when it comes to music. I have composed many soundtracks for feature movies, documentary movies, and also to theater plays, musicals. Also, I started conducting at 2002 in the Cairo Opera House, and ever since I'm trying to improve my career in it, and that's it. Not much.
But I would like to know from you how different it is if you're composing a soundtrack for a movie or for drama, for example, from the opera or the theater plays, as you mentioned.
Yes. There is one major difference, is that in cinema you work after the movie has been done, and in theater you work after the rehearsal starts. So in cinema you're really up to frames, parts of seconds. You have to make music that fits perfectly into a very specific amount of time, and during the development of this piece of music, it has to have a peak in a very certain second, that when, for example, when the hero heroine gets inside the room and discovers something.
Yes.
So the peak has to be exactly at that second. So it is much more controlled environment in the cinema. But this theater, you make the music and then dancers dance, or or singers sing. So you have the upper hand on how the music develops in theater. So that's the major difference. But
if you're composing music for a movie or drama series, for example, you have to read the script in order to know the general atmosphere or the events.
Yeah,
this
no, I have to see the movie. I have to see the movie. The movie has to be finished completely. Not,
really?
Yes.
So they finish the movie before the
yes.
soundtrack is...
Yes, because otherwise that you will compose music that may not fit exactly. If they change the film editing, then the music is can be not really matching the picture.
You've also did this, the trendy series. And you did some, pieces for the trendy series of Egypt. So if you can explain to us a little bit about, this mix, because usually when you are into orchestras and performances and opera, how would you come up with compositions that are related to the trend and the new?
It is a good question, of course, but although that we have a different type of knowledge than what would be normally existing in other composers in this field, but I live in present. I live in present. I don't. So I listen to all the music that is being composed today, and I like some, I dislike some, and I'm not completely detached from the present as.
So this is what's giving you. This is what's bringing the fusion between the present and what you have built upon in terms of background and education.
Absolutely.
And practice.
Absolutely.
You've also put the soundtrack for some comic
Yes, series.
works,
Yes.
series such as
Yes.
Gawiz
Yes.
by Hind Sabri, and
Yeah.
also many works by Ahmed Adam. So
Yes.
making like this is a light work of art,
Art.
the comedian type, and you are into orchestra and symphonies. How did you make this mix?
Well, there is a very misleading conviction that classical music is not fun. Classical music is so much fun you cannot imagine. It's just that being played by people who are wearing suits, but they can be as funny and as witty, and classical music has lots of comic operas. There are lots of operas that are hilarious and comedian, and you'll find people laughing their out loud in many places in the opera. So it's just the conviction that the music, classical music, is not funny is not really true. We have lots of funny moments in the just exactly like the pieces that we heard in the very beginning of the episode here, and
actually classical music has been mixed with even rock music. I mean,
lots of
famous
yes.
rock musicians
Yes,
such as Scorpions.
yes, yes.
They performed with the Orchestra of Berlin, for example.
Exactly.
They came up with the most beautiful music
Absolutely,
pieces.
absolutely. The orchestral medium is just a medium that can express anything that you can use it for. It's such a huge and powerful machine, actually, that can do anything that has to do with music much better than anything else. So, yeah.
Yes. At the end, I'd like to ask you maybe one last question before we end up this segment, and we definitely enjoyed it. But there is a depth about, orchestra. There is a depth of, what you learn from orchestra, which teaches you a lot in life.
Yeah.
And you being, managing this art center, you definitely learned a lot from the orchestra. And I'm very interested to know about, this depth of, techniques of orchestration and how it helped you in your life.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that you learn from the orchestra is precision. Precision, that the least fraction of second that somebody can be a little bit late or a little bit early can completely ruin the whole work. So precision is something that I learned from the orchestra, definitely. The art of letting other people pass and having the continuously changing roles of the. Sometimes the violins are in the foreground, and then suddenly they go back to give space for the flute to say something, and this ability of leaving the space for others to shine and help them, and then go back, and then taking your moment and go back. This is something that is very well connected with the orchestral art, that I think that it affected my even
the leadership style.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're saying that you do the same thing with your team. It's like
I hope,
give them the
yes.
space. And
I hope they agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, definitely, as Sharif mentioned, we enjoyed talking to you, Mr. Hisham Gabr, the director of the Art Center at the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you
and,
so much.
ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be taking a look at the upcoming report about the latest activities from the Korean Cultural Center. Then we'll be right back to resume this edition of Nile Cruise.